Hello NDLB to the 8th edition of the NDLB Podcast. Here is your host, Nick.
What's going on, guys? It's Nick here, Sunday afternoon, just before Royal Rumble in real life. Figured I'd drop a podcast, talk about a couple things. First being the draft, second being some of the trades that went down on that crazy day, 13 in total. I know there were a couple today, but I didn't get around to them. And finally, it's free agent season, so I decided through OSA to give you guys my top 5 of each batters and pitchers, and that'll be near the end. Hopefully this doesn't run on too long. I like to make these around 10-15 minutes. It seems like that's a good amount of time. Without further ado, let's get into this crazy draft that happened during the week this week, where we stole 29 players from Boston and sent them all to our teams for nothing. Watching him react was pretty funny, but in the end, everyone seemed to, well, there was a few bad picks. I noticed I wrote the word star a lot and that this was a steal, and I realized halfway through that pretty much all these picks are a steal, so that was a silly term to use to describe them. Anyways, New Jersey got off the board, took Alberto Ramirez, a young star, nothing more to talk about. This guy is the shortstop of the future, next Richard Todd. San Antonio at number 2 takes Jesus Castillo, 23-year-old, but he's going to be a star pitcher. As you can see, I wish I looked more into it. Dylanville at 3 took Natsumi Mochizuki, who looks like a solid pick. But based on what I've seen afterwards, my description that there was probably better available is correct. They could have gotten a much better player. But their scout likes him and mine doesn't. That's how it is. Number 4, I know this guy personally because he destroyed me in the playoffs last year. Charlotte took Stu Kirk, the catcher. MLB star already. Or ML star already. This is a great pick by Charlotte. It should help his team. He's tired of getting prospects. He needs something now. Number 5, Seattle took So Yamamoto, third baseman. Another major league pick. Over 150 games, would have projected as a 6 WAR. This is a great pickup. Great third baseman and a future star for Seattle. At number 6, Omaha took Taru Kondo, left fielder, still in the minors. Looking at his numbers, he's a left fielder to be, high on base percentage. He'll probably be a superstar going forward. Number 7, San Fran took Ben Menz, another body that crushed me in the playoffs. He's a first baseman, but he's going to be a star. And at number 8, you can't go wrong, especially if you're going for guys for the future, because I don't think there was many guys left. There's maybe 2 more guys you could have picked from. At number 8, oh, I forgot about this guy, actually. He was the steal of the draft at number 8, and that was starting pitcher Jesus Guerrero. Don't understand how he was available, but everyone in front of them must have had different opinions. He's going to be a star, and since he just got stronger. Number 9, Chicago took Chris. You guys, this is the first of a couple messed up names. Orozco. 3 great pitches. Didn't have a good 52nd year, but could rebound, so it looks like a solid pick for Chicago. At number 10, Toronto. Shout out Toronto. They took starting pitcher Tom Young. 3 great pitches, 1 bad pitch, but he should be a star. Got more descriptive here as I realized that steal and stuff wouldn't work. Number 11, Shelltown. Took Hisaki Kikuchi, another starting pitcher, already in the MLB. Another grade 3 pitch SP should be Shelltown's number 1 because, let's face it, Shelltown's not that good. Number 12, Los Angeles took Gonzalo Moreno, outfielder, AAA. How did this center fielder drop to 12? He's going to be a star. Another great pickup by Los Angeles, who's already paving the way for dominance in the NL, as I told you guys earlier on last year. Number 13, Las Vegas took Steven Walker, not Stefan. Grade 3 pitches, but mass stamina. Might be a number 4 if you care about stamina. If not, he's going to be an elite reliever for them. Number 14, Philly took third baseman Jay Dillard. Great ratings, but yet to put it together statistically in the minors. Number 15, Cookville took Jose Flores, an outfielder. Been great in the minors, needs to put it together in the pros, though. Number 16, Hillsborough took starting pitcher Don Simmons. Grade 3 pitches, and he's ready for the pros, so he should be probably called up this year. Number 17, Houston took Arthur Weber, A-ball center fielder. He's your prototypical center fielder. Elite defensively, high contact, absolutely no power. Exactly the type of player that Boston likes to go for. If you notice a lot of the players, it looks like a sideways U, and he's like that. Number 18, New England took Austin Evans, SP, elite 4-pitch SP, which is funny because so many 3 pitches were going for him, and you would want a pitcher with 4 elite pitches over 3. He's a lefty also, which is rare. This is a great pick at number 18. Number 19, Steel City took SP Chris Oliver, 29-year-old pro who's making $13 million a year. Some would say why, but at this point they just got themselves a free number 1 SP, and $13 million is nothing. Number 20, Albany took first baseman, and who I would have taken, Paul Montgomery. Produced at every level, lower power than ideal at first base, but should be a superstar. Winterfeld took Jared Jevons, outfielder, first bad pick of the draft based on my scout. Don't see much of a future here. He's like maybe an orange 40 potential guy. Number 22, Orange County took Greg McKnight, catcher. This is going to be a catcher who will become a first baseman if you care about ratings. He has mess stats, and then because of his mess stats, his talent will finally died or something like that. I don't know. I wrote some stupid stat about him. Basically, he's a catcher who's going to be playing first base, and because of that, I don't think his stats are going to hold up too well. Anyways, moving on to number 23, Long Beach took Raul Herrera, who's a starting pitcher. Although great stats, my scout thinks this is a bum, so look for my scout to be wrong. Everything in the minors indicates he's going to be a star, but unfortunately, he's red to me. 24, Moose Jaw took Shotgun Torres, one of the best closers in the game. He's 34 years old, so this is definitely a pick that helps a team that's in the playoffs. And also, honestly, probably had the most talent left. At number 25, I decided to take Rafael Medina. He was a 5-pitch starting pitcher. My scout didn't like him at all, but my old scout did. His stats haven't exactly matched his ability, but he could turn it around. Number 26, Washington always going for the international players, took Jing Sheng Shaw. Nice last name. Future middle reliever to me, but potentially a starting pitcher if that third pitch improves. Number 27, Port Orange took Jeff Wells, outfielder. To me, he's a bum with no future. He's like a red, but my scout's wrong. Maybe he favors ability on his side. Mine's a tool guy. Maybe he'll have a good career. Number 28, Alabama took outfielder William Robinson. Good ratings, but I project him as a future DH because he's not, or a left fielder who's terrible, but he should be a solid bat. And finally, last but not least, and it was hard to find because someone spelled his name or wrote his name completely wrong, is Vicente Martinez, not Ramirez. And this was a decent, good 29th overall pick. And as you'll see in a couple minutes, he's already been dealt. Yeah, so with the craziness that was that day, a couple teams decided that they were going to phone in the season, get ready for the future. Maybe they were financially struck. They realized like players are getting old, blah, blah, blah. So we had a crazy day of trades, 13 trades exactly. I did a little bit of research and graded everybody on how I felt they would be based on a color system, blue being best, green second, yellow third, orange fourth, red last, kind of like our system. So, because there was too many names to go through, but I didn't get my opinion on each trade. And I picked winners for some. Some was an even trade, and some there was distinct winners in my opinion. And I'll let you know. If you don't like it, tough. So starting off the day, Boston received Rafael Medina back from me for $1. This was just because I didn't want to make a pick, but I felt like I had to because of the draft, and then I saw a loophole that I could trade him back, so I did. He's going to be a stud for him. He's his best player now based on my scouts ratings, so I see a bright future for him. This is a trade that Boston clearly wins, but at the end of the day, I call it even because I didn't want to do it in the first place. I didn't want the player. Moving on, Washington made a player available. I pounced in and sent Jose Garcia, who's an international player, to Washington for Rafael Randon. Even trade. Looking at it right now, Rafael's decent. He probably views Jose higher than I did. I found him to be expendable, and I don't expect Randon to be more than a bench player, so it's an even trade for me. Next trade, the Greeks and the Cubs. The Greeks sent center fielder they just drafted, Vicente Martinez, and Steve Connor, a third baseman, to the Cubs for Ramon Valencia, catcher. This trade on the surface is a Greeks win. I don't know exactly what the Cubs were doing. I see them giving away an elite talent for a middle tier and an okay guy. But like I said, maybe their scouts view them different. Clearly their scouts view them different, but to me this looks like an easy Greeks win. So I checkmarked his yellow. Moving on, the Greeks get another win by making a trade with Orange County, getting Joseph Arredondo, the starting pitcher for Jorge Ayala. This trade isn't terrible per se. It to my eyes is like a blue for a green, but still the Greeks are getting the blue pitcher. The Orange County's buying high on batting talent and taking a green type player, and I just think at the end of the day the pitcher's better. Orange County rebounds after that by making a trade with Cincinnati, sending Joseph Hunter, the outfielder, and Pedro Chavez, a relief pitcher, to Cincy for Jason Nelson, starting pitcher, second baseman Doug Green, and shortstop Stephen Morris. To me, this is an OCD victory. It's only OCD because they get one extra player in the deal, and it seems like the players equal each other out, but that extra body comes over. It's a solid yellow type player, middle of the road, potentially an ML bat down the road, and he's a shortstop. So, I mean, I have to give them a small victory. But since you've used that relief pitcher as anything more than I do, then this could be a steal for them. The big steal to me right now, and kills me because it's in division, was Shelltown with Alabama. When Shelltown received starting pitcher Daniel Clendenin, so many N's in the name, and gave up Felix Gonzalez and third baseman Terry Galvin. Alabama was clearly in sell now mode and was taking whatever they could, and they were probably getting a lot of offers, and they just want to stock the shelves and go out this year in a blaze of glory because Daniel is a superstar. And I feel like they could have got more for him, but they must view those two players they got as stars. But to me, this is an easy Shelltown victory. Alabama takes another loss, in my opinion, when they pick up Chris Bass from Steel City for Angel Gonzalez, the outfielder. This is an outfielder for outfielder swap, and I just feel like Steel City just got an elite talent for a middle-of-the-pack ML talent. And at the end of the day, you got to give the tick to the team with the better player, and that's Steel City. The next trade was between Omaha and New Jersey, where Omaha sent Ramon Cora, a first baseman, to New Jersey for 3 batters, 2 shortstops in Carl Anderson and Steve Tomei, and a catcher in Greg Matthews. I call this trade is this is even to me because both teams got a key player, and Omaha got a couple players that probably will never make it, and they'll be depth players, but if they view defense more than they do offense at catcher and shortstop, they could find themselves in the pros. Moving on, we got Omaha making another trade. As you can see, it almost feels like one team trades with one team, and then they go trade with another, and that team they trade with goes and trades with another. Steel City and Omaha make a deal. Steel City sending right fielder Masahide Sakai to Omaha for Jose Garcia. This one's an Omaha victory for me because my scout hates Garcia, so I feel like they got nothing for him, and they could have got something. But hey, that's why they did the trade, and I didn't. I noticed that Alabama was in the midst of selling players, so I jumped in again and got Robbie Gilliam for Kazunari Nishiyama. Kazu, I don't know actually, because I've had so many scouts in the last few years. I know he had the potential to be a star. Alabama views him higher than I do, and with how international free agents get better, there's definitely room for improvement. I just saw an opportunity with a pitcher that would help bridge a year between my youth, like Greg Scott, and others. So I'm going to let him go for this 1 year and maybe re-sign. So this is definitely an even trade because especially if I only get 1 year out of him, then that's better than nothing. And Alabama gets a decent potential starting pitcher, and if not, a serviceable 5 at worst. This next trade, though, boy, this is why Boston gets good again, and they're going to get good quick again. Boston got first baseman Jack Fothergill, closer Wu-Tang Murphy, and a closer and Leonard Bean, and only gave up Carlos Washington, Roger Fernhardt, who are both relievers, Aurelio Lopez, and Stephen White, who are outfielder and first base. None of them project to pan out. Boston picks up 2 blues, gives up an orange at worst. To me, this is a one-sided deal, but that's what deals are made for. I've definitely made one-sided deals I regret. But this is why Boston's going to get good again. Finally, Bama gets on the winning side. They sure ain't like the Crimson Tide here. So far, I got them at 0-3 in trades. 0-3-1. We'll call ours a tie. But this is a win for them when they send who I view as a blue Marcos Lopez for a plethora of players, including a blue and Morgan Evans outfielding, a starting pitcher in the greens and Antonio Macias, and then Steve Jordan, first baseman, and Chris Williday, an outfielder. They get a lot of pieces back, and they get an elite piece, plus this complimentary piece for one elite piece. Got to give Bama the win there. Omaha must be desperate and want to make a run this year. So, do your thing. And in the final trade, which I think was the first trade of the day, Alexander Worth Young got sent from Steel City to Boston for $4 million. Normal trade. Middle of the tier, above average player for some money that a team needs. Not a problem at all. That concludes the first 2 parts of this. I'm going to finish off with the final part. I'm just going to give you a quick top 5 of each side of the free agency, why I think you should go for these guys, and you can thank me later when they do well on your team. So let's start with batting. Number 5, Jeffrey Bates, outfielder. 27 years old. His numbers are solid across the board, high 6s, low almost at 7s. His defense is suspect, but that's why he's left field. And realistically speaking, batters aren't really that powerful in our league. And when you can get a type of player like this, probably for cheaper than normal, got to take advantage of it. Staying in left field, if you want some age and a 1-year bat, go for Bill Dyer. 37 years old, can play left field still. He has 7 out of 70 power, 74 gap, 66 contact, which is pretty high all things considered. And you're only getting 1 year out of him, so it's not a high risk kind of contract. You can let him go if it is nothing, and you get a free player of his age if he's decent. Number 3, Yatsuhiro Matsumura. I think these are one of the new international free agents that are dominating this class, including the number 1 pick as well. It looks like defensively he's going to be nothing more than a left fielder, but he has a high gap, 82 power. I K could be a little better. His contact's almost at 70. He looks like he'll be a plus player at 30. You can get 5 good years out of him. Number 2, catcher Jason Anderson, 34 years old. Pretty strong across the board, 78 overall, 70 contact, 75 gap, 63 power, 64 I, 69 K. All the things you're looking for in a catcher. Elite defensively, which is a key portion as well. And then finally, number 1 is shortstop Kiyomitsu Sakamoto. I'm assuming also this guy's a new guy into the league through international free agency. 57 defense, 72 contact, 74 gap, 61 power, 90 I, and 74 K. All elite stats, especially that I, which is hard to find in this day and age in this game. That means he's going to be roughly a 400 on base type player, which would be huge. And he plays shortstop. This is the number 1 guy you should be looking at this offseason. When we flip side, I won't get too detailed because I'm running on a little longer than I'd ideally like to go, 16-ish minutes. I'll give you my top 5 starting pitchers in order. You go out there, you do a little research, and you take these guys and thank me later. At number 5, Carlos Lopez. Righty, high overall. Low control, all things considered, but still good. Number 4, Dave Morris, former player of mine. Lefty, which is rare. Up there in ability, up there in velocity, up there in stamina. Number 3, although fragile, Anaba Gorang. Righty, I don't think he'll have compensation because of how he got signed last year. And he's a star. Number 2, Cy Young winner, Alden Plummer. Won the year, decided to test free agency, worth every penny, 34 years old. You're getting into a 2-3 year type deal with him. I'd spend it though. And finally, number 1, the name whose name is backwards to Superman's, Kent Clark, 32-year-old righty, 100 plus velocity, decent, elite across the board. If you're gonna spend money on someone and pay a compensation pick, it would be for him. Anyways, NDLB, that's it for today, and hope you enjoy the rest of your Sunday.
Goodbye.